show you the beauty and the joy of the wild. Whenever you're feeling alone, worried or full of strife, remember the lessons nature brings to life. There's no lack of purpose in the song of the birds. Snowflakes don't struggle to find the right words. You won't find betrayal in the breeze in the trees. There's no selfishness in the sound of the sea. Scent of the forest, stars shining bright, red and orange embers of a campfire light. The wolf and the eagle, the fish and the bear, all have their place. Water, earth, and air. There's no lack of purpose in the song of the birds. Snowflakes don't struggle to find the right words. You won't find betrayal in the breeze in the trees. There's no selfishness in the sound of the sea. There's no disappointment in the fullness of the moon.
You're listening to Big Blend Radio's Toast of the Arts and Park Show with Nancy Reed and Lisa Smith, the publishers of Big Blend magazines. And you just heard Nature Walk by Chicago-based award-winning vocalist and composer Joan Hammel. And she's joining us today to talk about her music, her performing arts career, going out. She does a lot with film and commercials and a lot of songwriting. And she also was a resident in various national parks. And she's going to be talking about that today. You can go to her website, joanhammel.com, and she's also on Twitter, Facebook, CD Baby, iTunes in over 100 countries. Isn't it cool?
That's
that you
really
can
something.
get anywhere. The internet does some cool things, like getting her on our show. So, Joan, welcome. How are you?
Good. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Nancy, so much for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Well, we love that you're coming on our show because we love what you're doing. You've got such a beautiful voice, and Nature Walk is just it. I think we need to hear music like that, something just peaceful and beautiful and makes you want to go outside and just kind of calm the mind with everything that gets crazy in the world. So very beautiful. Where did you write that? Is it a collection of experiences?
Well, it really started when a gal that used to be an intern in my office, I invited her to come and start writing some music. Let's start writing some things. So we began the ideas. We wrote out a bunch of thoughts about how do you pass on the love of nature to a child, right? Mm-hmm. How do you, as a mother and daughter duo, you guys have it together with that for sure.
Thank you.
How do you pass that on? And then the song got put in the box, or the ideas got put in the box. And then when I started traveling for the National Park Artist in Residence, I pulled that out and said, this is perfect to work on. And so then I finished it up while I was at Lake Roosevelt National Recreation Area in Washington State.
Okay, Washington State, beautiful, beautiful. And so, I know you're in Chicago area, so Pullman National Historic District. That's one of the newest parks, and I've heard that that's kind of changed up quite a bit. I mean, because that's the one thing too. We've got the beauty, the nature, but history is also a big part of our National Park Service. So that's got to have been pretty exciting.
Yes, well, that it's pretty new for us here. In the last couple of years, President Obama was the one who designated that historical site. As you guys know, and many of the listeners know, the National Park Service oversees over 400 sites, not just parks, but historic sites and other important areas in our country.
And so for you, it's interesting going into the nature side and wanting to connect that with, mother to children, and I think that's something that it's beautiful about music because it can reach across, and around the world, like you have your music, and you've got to be pretty excited because I heard that your song Nature Walk has made it into 3 categories for the Grammy ballot.
Yes, it got announced here in the last 2 weeks. And I'm just it's so exciting. My phone was nonstop buzzing and my emails coming in. It was included on the Best American Roots Performance, Best American Roots Song, and then Best Video.
Oh, wonderful.
Wow, cool.
Wonderful. Very exciting. That's very nice. What was the very first national park that you went to that you remember?
Well, it probably was Yellowstone.
Nice.
When I was a kid. Yeah, I was when I was in high school, I was invited to be a part of a leadership conference. I was one of the kids involved in student government, and I was selected to go on this huge bus tour over the course of the summer, and we toured all around the United States for, probably 6 weeks on a bus. And
nice.
I think Yellowstone, that was fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, I know you've done quite a bit of travel, haven't you? I was, reading your resume and your bio, and it's like, okay, man, are you going to publish a book with all this? Which is awesome. But it looks like you've traveled quite a bit. Is it mostly for singing, or because you also did a lot in regards to, or do a lot in commercials and TV and film work?
Well, it's all career based. I've been around the lower 48 states many times, in all the states, and so appreciate how beautiful our country is. We just live in such a gorgeous place. I live in the Chicago area, and for those who have not been here, it's prairie, so it's very flat. So when we travel to other places, we get excited about hills and mountains and rivers, and it's different kinds of beauty, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then, I've also had the great opportunity to travel to other places in the world and see their beauty, the beautiful blue waters of the Caribbean and, in Europe, Mediterranean and places like that. It's, if we take care of our world, we certainly can continue to have a beautiful planet.
I agree. We need to do it now.
Yes.
We're in a hurry. We're in a big hurry, for that. But so for you, did you start off with singing? I mean, because this is something your family was involved with, and was a musical family too?
Yes, I grew up in a musical family. My parents were both, they both sang, and they both played different instruments. My mom played the guitar and some piano. My dad also played the piano and trumpet, and so music was just a part of everyday life. And all kinds of music. I think that's the other thing I really appreciate. They would put on a classical album followed by bluegrass, followed by a flamenco album. And so, we were exposed to enjoy music from everywhere.
That's nice.
I like that a lot.
I think that's important that we don't, close ourselves off. And that's something so important for musicians of today. It's like, stop labeling us. It's like, you will only do rock, you will only do pop, you will only do this, and I don't think that's
right.
the way it should be, and I don't think when you're creating something, I mean, if it's really got the integrity and authenticity of art, you're creating something, does your brain go, oh, it must be this way? Oh, wait a minute, I now have two types of music in my song. I need to, pick one or the other. When you write, it really just comes out, right, the way it wants to?
Right, right. And that's one of the reasons I was so, it was a wish of mine to connect with one of the members of the tribes that was a musician and somehow collaborate with them. And so the flute that you hear at the beginning and the end of Nature Walk is of tribal member Tim Brooks. He's a member of the Colville tribe, and then his nephew did the engineering, and that was Fair and So Happy, who's a Yakima tribe member. And so, to your point, you can incorporate different kinds of music, different styles into one creation and have it make sense.
I think John Denver would like that song, Nature Walk. I really do.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was my intent to have it be a nod to two people. Him is one, because he was sort of the first celebrity, so to speak, to champion the cause of the environment in the way that he did. And there was sort of this experience when you go to the outdoors. There was a lot of people would sing songs around the campfire, right? And so to sort of have that be a part of the creation, and as well as to include the guitar for Woody Guthrie, who was the last artist in that region of the country to be invited to create music in this way. He was not with the National Park Service, but when they were building the Grand Coulee Dam. And that was 80 years ago. So he wrote Roll On, Columbia, Roll On, and some other things there. And so it's important to sort of look back and acknowledge and freshen it up for a modern day take on it.
I agree with that. It's looking back at the people that have stood up for our lands, nature, the environment. If you think back, even look at Bonnie Raitt and the Redwoods. She's done a bunch,
right.
And but really going back, our national parks. A main reason that the actual National Park Service exists, and these lands even started getting protected was, through the arts, through artists, and through photographers. Look at Ansel Adams, and there's just so many artists that stood up, but we don't often hear about musicians in history who have done it, actually. So it's good to bring that to the forefront. We always think back to Ansel Adams, but there's been a lot of people between him and now, and people like you, musicians like you, who keep that torch burning for that, because they're always in threat. Let's put it that way.
I think it'd be pretty hard to be creative if there's no nature around you.
Yeah.
If you can't walk outside in a pretty place, how does your mind get to go to that creative part?
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I think
and we can, as art creative people, I think inviting all different types of creative things can work in concert with each other. So, it's great to have the photography of Ansel Adams, to document what the parks looked like at that time, and then to have photographers now who are doing it. And, music part of it, I know many times visual artists are at the forefront of documenting the parks, but, music can last, long past the artist is gone. And, This Land Is Your Land by Woody Guthrie, that is something that still stays with us. And, in the age of digital things now, look at how many people, because of the Nature Walk song, are able to be inspired to go back to the parks. I've gotten phone calls and emails from people. Some friends called from Yellowstone when it was being played over the bus as they were doing the tour in the park, and I thought, oh, how fun is this?
Nice. That's awesome.
That is cool.
I love that. I really, really do. The other part, in your careers, you're into definitely with nature, but you also work in regards to being part of the Arts Tour roster of artists for the Illinois Arts Council. So tell us about that work. Yeah, because, man, you've done a lot. You should write a book.
Yeah. Well, thank you. The Illinois Arts Tour is the Illinois Arts Council supports artists in Illinois in different ways, particularly music artists. And over the course of years, they select artists to be supported financially. And what that means is they will help provide funds to organizations who want to bring in artists to perform. So an organization would apply to the state, and then the state would help match funds to bring the artist in to support not just the artist, but to get it out in the schools, libraries, other not-for-profits who have a tight budget. And they have a selection process for that. And so it's sort of an endorsement, so to speak, to help promote the artist.
That's fantastic. We need as many organizations, as possible. But you also, really worked in the world of history as well, and also done a lot for. You did a USO tour, so you've taken care of our military and those who serve. But you went. Where did you go with that?
Well, I've been to many places around the U.S. But the biggest tour that I did was to Cuba. I was selected to do an 11-day tour to Guantanamo Bay at the height of its controversy.
Wow.
To go down and entertain the troops. And, I was the first performer on the stage at Camp Delta there. And, the only female amongst a ton of guys, So, to be in a leadership position, right, in that place was not lost on me, really. And, but, our troops are so important, our men and women in uniform. They were so appreciative of us coming because they felt like we, as a society, had forgotten about them, and because of the controversy, felt like the world hated them. And, we, from the time of Vietnam soldiers and other folks that have served, it's a very difficult job. And, to give them a little taste of home, I went over the holiday season to give them a little taste of home, to show appreciation for a tough job.
I absolutely agree with you, and thank you for doing it, because I think we forget what others are doing, if it's not right under our nose. It's kind of like when a hurricane happens, everybody watches the hurricane come in and then forgets the cleanup that takes years. It's that the next headline has hit, and we're in a world of headlines nonstop. It's like every few seconds something's happened. But I think it's really true with things like, Guantanamo Bay, Vietnam, like you said. If it's got some side of controversy, or that's where everybody's looking, but they're not thinking about the people that have signed up to help and what they are going through on a daily basis, and being in a foreign place, seeing things that we don't necessarily want to know about, and it's so easy for us to forget about. And I think this is the power of the arts, about going out and how it can touch. And you're talking about getting phone calls, emails. We've got social media so people can keep in touch. But I don't think that artists and musicians ever truly know the incredible power. I don't think you can quantify the power of art and music, because it goes on forever. And someone can listen to a song 10 times in a row, and they're going to have a different emotion each time, and they're going to hear something different each time. So I don't think you can quantify just how powerful it is.
Well, and everybody looks at things in a different way. If you're looking at a painting, somebody standing next to you is going to see it in a completely different light. So it is something that's infinity kind of based. It's something that, as long as we take care of the planet, we're always going to have creativity.
Yeah.
Wow. Right, and the healing power of it. Probably the most touching letter that I ever received was from the widow of the co-pilot of the plane that hit the North Tower of the World Trade Towers, talking about how the America song had helped her heal. And you just don't know how it affects people, because we don't really tell people, as a general rule, we don't tell people or have the opportunity to tell them.
Tell us about that, because America, we're going to play that. It's just so well done. It's beautiful and very touching, heartfelt. But it's also, when we think about 9/11 again, it's like, here's the controversy on that too. But It's something that, when we say never forget, it's true. You can't forget something like that, and you can't forget the people that we lost. We can't forget the people now that, think about the little children that lost their parents, and now being they're adults. It goes far beyond the day, that remembering that day. It goes, it runs deep. And tell us about America, because that was chosen for Flight 93 Memorial in California for their website, and then you're also part of the Artist Registry in New York.
Yes, for the National Memorial in New York. Yeah, the America song came about from a producer I knew. I had worked on a separate project with him to raise money for charities for Princess Diana. I had sung on a song for that. And after September 11th, he decided he wanted to write something. And so the song that he wrote, the lyrics and the melodies from an old folk tune. We know it mostly as Danny Boy. And its proper name is London Derriere. And so he wrote this and asked me to sing on it. And so I did, and I didn't think, too much about it. I just went in and did it. And then all the proceeds from that song went to help first responders in New York and other people. And it sort of became this underground thing in New York. And then we got letters from the mayor and the governor and the fire chiefs and the, individuals, the widow of the co-pilot, and so these letters started coming in, and then that song made its way to the Secretary of the Navy, who eventually took it down to Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld's office, and that's how the USO stuff started. So.
Oh wow! Wow, it's amazing, man. And again, it runs deep, and so now, how can people go and listen to it? Can they still be part of it, and purchase it?
Yeah, if they want to listen to it, they can go right to the National 9/11 Museum website, and they can listen to it there. You just click on the Artist Registry, and you can listen to it there. And it's also for sale. It's in its third printing now, and the money still goes to the New York area to help with the folks there. Monies have also, and the CDs have also gone to Flight 93 Memorial in California, which actually put the first national memorial up because a lot of the people who died on the plane in Pennsylvania were from that area in California.
Wow.
And so, it continues. They can find it online, easily, and they can always write to me. I'll be happy to sign personal copies and mail them to people if they want them.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm looking forward to us playing it. Now, you also do TV work and commercials, so you also act.
I have. You can. I worked for about 2 months on a film called Groundhog Day. You may have heard of that.
Right on. Yeah.
I played a television reporter in that, and I had worked on another film with Bill Murray that I was totally cut out of. And that's how I got the thing in Groundhog Day. And then I was almost, we shot for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I'm in 14 seconds. But, well, that's how it is,
Yeah.
But, but all the outdoor scenes where you see Bill standing outside, I stand next to him in the outdoor reporting scenes. But and that's the easiest way to see.
I just
save the groundhog.
Save the groundhog.
Yeah, and I could tell you lots of stories about the groundhog. We could make a whole nother segment about being bitten by the groundhog and,
Nice.
Making
nice. They really don't want to be part of that. They don't. Animals, they didn't ask for that, and
right.
I don't know this whole thing, I don't know who, does the groundhog want that dude to, pick him up every year for the broadcast? I'm just saying.
No.
Anyway, I could do a segment on that.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. No.
No.
Yeah.
Leave
And
him
they're
alone.
not as trainable as a dog. They're not as trainable as a dog. They pretty much are interested in going back in the hole and being left alone. So
that's right.
Yeah.
They're animals. They don't want that. Tell us about the TV show that you worked with. It's fun to be fit.
It's fun to be. Yeah. Well, I was one of the folks who put that show together. It's fun to be fit. And what that was is we went into Disney Magnet School in Chicago, and we did this television special with them, and it actually ended up winning an Emmy. So
right on.
Very happy about that. Yeah, we just were doing a thing, and the next thing I knew, I was at home. No one had told me that it was even nominated, so I watched it get pulled out of the envelope at home in my jammies on the TV. I'm like, hey, look at that. So.
Wow. Hey, look.
Good going.
Yeah, look at that. I just won an Emmy here in my pajamas. Great.
Wow.
So
going back, because Nature Walk. Now, I want this to win a Grammy. Okay, I'm just saying it needs to do that. But you've done
from your ears. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's whatever I want, I get. Wouldn't that be nice?
I gotta hang out with you more.
Tell us about your work with the Grammys. You served with the Board of Governors in Chicago for the Grammys. Tell us about that work, and then
I did.
Yeah, because you also somehow got connected to Mr. Holland's Opus, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yes. So with the Grammys, how that is the music community will elect their own peers to represent them on a board. And I did that for a really long time in Chicago here for the Grammys, and ended up being chair of what's called the Education Committee, where we brought music into schools for kids who did not have music programs. So we would have basically a career day where we would bring in kids from all over the Midwest to come in and meet with attorneys and engineers and graphic designers and all different kinds of jobs to show them all the different ways they could be involved in the music business. And so we did that. And as a part of that, the person who was chairman of the Grammy Awards at the time had asked me if I would help co-chair the opening of Mr. Holland's Opus with Richard Dreyfuss. And so that was great fun. I got to do that movie and another movie premiere here in Chicago. So red carpet and spotlight, and so that was. I even invited, because it was about a music teacher, as you guys know, I invited my high school choir teacher to come as my guest, and to bring the kids from my old high school to come and sing for the opening.
Oh wow, how neat!
That's cool.
We got a connection with this in regards to. We're ambassadors for a program called the 8 Keys of Excellence. It's a character education or character development program. It's a nonprofit that was founded by Bobby DePorter. She is like the education queen. I mean, she really is. She is the co-founder of Super Camp, which is the world's leader in summer academic achievement program. So they take preteens and teens and they live on a campus for 7 to 10 days and learn these 8 Keys of Excellence. They learn how to study. They take their phones away for a while, which is good. But she ended up doing some things with Richard Dreyfuss as well in San Diego, which is where they're based. Ended up doing TV show. They were both scheduled to talk about education, and then something, how it goes, like so and so got bumped for this and that happened, and so Richard put her on with him, and then they did some other things together as well. And now things have connected and grown from there, and Chicago, because Stedman Graham and Bobby co-founded an organization called the Community Alliance for Youth Success, and so they created this what's now called Youth Success Week, where the schools, the business community, and the families, the kids are all connected for this week-long festival. With youth coming first. And they did their own TEDx talks and all kinds of programs, and it really helped in regards to kind of squishing the just so many issues that kids face, bullying, suicides and shootings and things like that. It's really helped their community in San Diego, Oceanside, San Diego. But he also helped Brookside, I believe. That's a suburb in Chicago. They were the first one to follow up with this event because it's a program that they're developing nationally so that youth success is celebrated for a full week and eventually, hopefully, every single community so that kids know that they're thought about and help them in development.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It gives the kids an opportunity to speak.
Yeah.
And be heard.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We've interviewed the youth and it just, man, we gotta celebrate them, and we've got to put them on the pedestal, and we've got to do everything we can to give them the tools they need to move forward in life. And they really, when they know that you care and that someone's listening, they lap it up and they grow fast.
Yep.
They move forward, So
that is so awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting. What would you say to a kid now, like maybe a teenager, says, "Hey, Joan, I'm thinking of becoming a singer and a songwriter." What piece of advice would you give them?
Well, practice makes better. I would start with that. You got to start doing it. And
Why you said better, not perfect? What happened to perfection?
Yeah, because for those of us who reach a certain level of music, we have been raised with the concept of perfection, and when we don't reach it, it can be paralyzing, and you think, well, I'm just going to give up, and that's I've known incredibly talented musicians who gave up because they could not maintain perfection in their mind, and that's a shame because now music is so powerful in our lives. None of us are perfect, and it's a rare person who reaches high levels in classical music and perfection, and even then, right? So practice makes better. And I would also advise them to find a mentor who's doing what they want to be doing and to spend time with them, because then you learn many different kinds of things from that person who has had success. You learn the business, you learn the sound engineering, you learn the paperwork, because it's not all champagne glasses and limousines. It's an awful lot of paperwork. So
yeah, that's it. It's a business. It is a
business,
and you have to watch your work. And protect that as well. So what is next for you, Joan?
The next things for me are starting after the first of the year. I will be back in the studio. I wrote so much stuff during my residency that I have enough for about 2 albums worth.
Wow.
So I will be back. I will be back in the studio, crafting some new things, and of course, waiting to hear if the top 5 are announced for Grammy stuff. That will be February. So I realize it's an incredible long shot, but boy, it's sure nice to be in the mix. And,
oh yeah, absolutely. That's good. And to me, I think the more independent music that gets out there, the better too. And also roots music. I'd like to see more cultural music out there in the Grammys. I don't know how to do that, but I think there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes, and we have the TV thing for the upper echelon or whatever you want to call it. Here's the
right.
But I would love to just see it broadcast for everything, where we can see everything. And maybe it does. Maybe it's changed over the years. But, I just, blues should be at the top. Native American flute music should be at the top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's part of our musical heritage, not just pop.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with pop. I like pop. But I'm just saying. It's like rant number 2
well,
today.
And you're
number 2, open the Grammys for more.
Yes. Well, the Grammys have started now these last couple of years. They now do online broadcasting, and so they do all of the announcements of the awards starting earlier in the day, and you can watch it online. And then the evening is generally the television broadcast with between 12 and 16 categories, because there's about 100.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So most things get announced off air when I first started going to the Grammy Awards, they no one really went to the pre-show, and so we ended up being able to hang out with amazing people very casually before the show because people didn't go. And then people realized if you went early, you got more time to speak in your thank yous, right? And then now it's become just as important as the rest of the show in the pre-broadcast. And
okay, good.
And it's fun to see everybody. Fun to see.
That's good. I'm going to watch that now. Yeah. Okay, so before you go, Joan, I have to ask you this question because you wrote a song called Nature Walk, okay? And it's a beautiful song. But we have a thing, you know, from our tour and what we do with our Love Your Parks tour, traveling to, you know, we're on a quest to visit every single unit within the National Park Service and connect, not just, you know, cover the parks. And we have over 417 now. Yeah. I can't keep up. And the parks, but cover all parks and to cover the communities and, you know, get people to be aware of the smallest to the largest parks. And part of the thing we noticed was that when you think about a park, you think you have to be, you know, a backpacker or, you know, an Olympian or something, you know. And it's the reality is anyone can go in a park. You can go to Yellowstone and you'll find a walk that is easy, you know, for all ages and abilities as well. So we started what's called the 1 Hour Walk group. It's on Facebook. And it's really about getting people outside, get that fresh air. Maybe it's a historic downtown. Maybe it's your neighborhood. It's about communication. It's about seeing the little things. It's just it's healthy. It's a good thing to do. So we have our 1 hour walk. So what I want to know is if you could take a 1 hour walk with anyone, alive or passed on, just to spend that precious time with them or maybe to, you know, pick their brain, whatever it is, or, you know, just to spend time with someone you haven't for a while, who would it be, and where would that walk be, and what's the gossip? What are you talking about with them?
Holy cow! What a great question.
No preparation either, huh?
No preparation. So the first person that comes to mind, of course, is my mom, who's passed. Hi. And boy, where would we go? Maybe through the neighborhood she grew up in.
Where was that? So, where was that?
In Chicago area. She grew up in the Chicago area. So I probably, because my mom died when I was 14, so there's a big chunk of history missing. So that would be, and of course we would have to talk about my brothers and sisters, you know, and what they're doing. And my brother getting in trouble, you know, we'd have to talk about that stuff. I mean that in a funny way, right?
Yeah, make sure he hears this.
Of course.
Okay, there's scandal on the brother here.
Yeah, there's yeah, no. But no, I think probably it would be just you know, catching up, right?
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
But if it were not that, then I would say a walk along the Chicago lakefront, because the Chicago lakefront, particularly in the summertime, is so beautiful. There's many parks there. We've got Lake Michigan, and you've got Grant Park, and you've got the Rose Gardens, and it's real. When you guys eventually come to Chicago to see Pullman, that's when we'll have to take you guys and have you guys walk along the lake.
Oh, cool. We're there. We want tour guides, you know,
everywhere.
And we think musicians make the best tour guides.
Exactly.
You know, of a city and to get to know the area. And we'll go have, you know, you did mention Champaign. You do know we're famous for Champaign picnics, right? For take a little 1 hour walk.
I do now.
Yeah, Champaign in the park. Yeah. Don't tell the park rangers. But they all know that when Nancy and Lisa have been in a park. It's a happy park. No. But no, it's just about, you know, enjoying a little, you know, fun outside in the park. It's good. But we'd love to meet you in person when we get up there. We're going to be on the road full time on our Love Your Parks tour. Everyone, you can see that on nationalparktraveling.com. We're going to be full time. It's going to be 5 to 8 years, or really until Nancy and I, you know, wither away.
In a park somewhere.
Yeah, we don't need a home base. We're just it's not who we are, and so we'll be on the road full time starting in April, May of 2019, and gearing up for it now. And everybody, just a shout out. Watch out. We're having some T-shirts coming out soon for the park, and also to raise money for the National Parks Arts Foundation too. So good stuff happening.
Well,
and go ahead.
No, I say we're happy to host you when you come here. We would love to have you.
Thank you
Awesome.
so much, Joan, and thanks for joining us. And keep us posted on the new music, okay? And the Grammys. We want to make sure. Yeah, we'll be rooting for you.
Cool.
And here it is. We're going to play America. Everyone, you can keep up with Joan on her website, joanhammel.com, and that's Hammel, joanhammel.com. She's on Twitter, Facebook, CD Baby, iTunes. Keep up with her there. And we've got to give a shout-out to the National Parks Arts Foundation. You can go to their website, nationalparksartsfoundation.org, and we hope to see Joan in a park through them at some point, too. Just saying.
Exactly.
Nudge, nudge. From all sides.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Nancy, so much for having me.
Take care, Joan. Here it is, everybody. Joan's singing America.